Everybody, welcome to the Pulse. I believe, Tom, you said this is our show number 250.
250. I
Yeah.
think I've
Pretty
been on most of
cool.
them too, actually.
Probably you're like our Balky from, I don't know if you guys watch Grey's Anatomy, but she's the operating room nurse that's been in like every episode, every season from the beginning.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
Well, I remember
in
when
fact,
you asked me all those years ago, and you're like, "Hey, you can do this with us." I'm like, "But I don't know what the roadmap stuff." Oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry. No, I don't know. It worked out.
it did. Worked out well. Well, cool. Well, we have some updates today. I will say that the build updates have not hit the roadmap yet, though. So if you watch this after you watch build and say, why didn't you mention these? It's because Microsoft did not put them in the roadmap as of yet. So next week will either be a completely messy roadmap. This one's a little bit messy. They have some of the same ones that they didn't catch as duplicates. But that is the time of year. In another couple of weeks, we'll have that one episode that's got like 1,000
Oh
changed
gosh,
items, and it's
yes,
like,
those are always
oh,
fun.
end of the fiscal cleaning. But overall, they're doing pretty good on the roadmap. So in development, which means Microsoft is working on it, I just have one or two that I like. I have two that I really like, so I'll do those. One of those is Outlook Copilot suggests you how you should RSVP to meetings, and this is going to be based on the meeting appointment importance, your availability, and your working hours, and so it's going to help you, triage your inbox, so that kind of gives you a hint if you should accept or not. We'll see how that
Now,
goes.
I've tried this. I know it's not out yet for everybody, but apparently it's out just for me. But when I use it, it just says nope.
It says don't go.
Yeah, it just says nope.
Okay, well, I it hallucinates a little bit. It's, still proceed with caution. Yeah, proceed with caution. So we'll call that in development. So maybe you're just playing with a half-baked piece. Um, the other one that I liked is the transfer ownership of departing employees' files with
That one was
Yes,
ease.
thank
interesting.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're making it easier to manage files when an employee leaves. The email is now more prominent, so you don't miss the email that says, hey, in 30 days, everything's going to be gone. And then security and compliance in transfer, making sure sensitive stuff remains sensitive, and you meet all the regulatory obligations. So I'm excited to see that. And that's in development. It says June of calendar year 2025, so we may be seeing that at least in enterprise pretty soon. But it does say all tenants, so maybe we'll be seeing that everywhere soon. So there's some others I liked, but I'm going to pass it to the rest of the team so I don't steal them all. So I'll pass it to Tamara next. What did you like in
Great.
development?
Outlook, add custom sounds for mail notifications, reactions, and calendar reminders. I have so many bells going off on my computer. I feel like Pavlov's dog, and I never know what they mean. So, being able to customize those sounds is a real big win for me. Hashtag new Outlook
I
for
just turn all my
Windows.
sound off. I don't have
You turn
my
all your
sound
sound
on.
off?
My sound is off on my computer. There's not a single notification that comes. It is in do not disturb all the time. My phone is off. Yeah, no, that dinging, no, no.
I have to have it or I'm going to miss something important because I get heads down in something and I'm like, oh,
Oh.
time stops for me. And that's not a true statement, unfortunately.
I love
So,
that.
and then I also liked Outlook mail categories. Users will be able to assign and remove categories to mails on Android devices. And then Microsoft Viva got a little bit of love. Export event questions. So, organizers and co organizers can now download all events questions within the past 28 days, including status, source, timestamp, upvotes, and reactions in a CSV file for easy filtering, analysis, and sharing. The option to export questions is available by default if there is at least one question posted on the event page. And then Microsoft Viva organizers reply privately to individuals. So this allows event organizers to answer questions from specific attendees without displaying the reply to other participants. This is great for when they come on and they say, I can't hear you. You can give them specific advice on checking their speakers. Are the right speakers selected? Is the volume up? As opposed to inundating everybody in the session with that information. This capability can be helpful for sensitive questions, personal inquiries, hey, what you doing? Or following up discussions that are not intended to broadcast to the entire audience. What do you have, Tom?
Well, since I've become known as the co-pilot person on this particular recording, I'll go with some co-pilot items here.
All right.
First one, real-time voice interactions in Word and PowerPoint. So this is going to allow you to use your voice to talk with Copilot, interact real time, and understand the context within your document or presentation. Kind of reminds me when we were in Vegas and we went to the Sphere and they had these humanoid robots and they had the handler who would talk in their mic, and it was like verbal prompting. And it was actually a lot of fun to watch. It was also fun to watch them to hallucinate in real time too, but that's a different story. But now you're going to be able to use Copilot just to talk instead of having to necessarily type each time. We're also seeing one that I think will be really nice, and that is Copilot, again, overview of recent comments and changes in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So you can use Copilot to see a summary of the latest comments and changes made to your files using
Tom,
the Copilot chat pane.
Oh, maybe it's just me that can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I think it was
I can
just
hear you
you.
now.
I heard him.
Okay, good.
How about, okay, how about now?
You're fine. It's me.
Nope. Hello.
You're fine. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, everything kind of froze up. Sorry about that.
I put on mute and yelled at him because he's in the next room.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm apparently having problems. I keep freezing up here, but
we keep hearing you.
Okay, so did you get the notifications? I'm sorry, not the notification one. Do we have the summary to hear the latest comments and changes in your Word, Excel, PowerPoint?
Yep, we heard that one.
Okay, you heard that one, good. And then the last one that I will just mention, and that is Copilot Chat in a sidebar in Classic Outlook for Windows. So we're introducing a sidebar experience for Copilot Chat, which is not unusual in itself, but they're doing it in the Classic Outlook for Windows, which is kind of cool that they are taking the thing that everybody still seems to use and giving it some Copilot love. So you're going to be able to see that Copilot Chat window on the side, and you'll be able to use that in the context of the content that you're reading or writing in Outlook. So that's the ones that I saw in development that I liked.
Awesome. I had a couple more.
Great.
So Microsoft Edge asks Copilot from the address bar. So you're going to get a choice when you type something into the address bar to ask Copilot. This is just a great usability thing. I don't know if anyone else just types their search into the address bar, but I do that quite often. So excited to see that one. And then in GCC, you're going to be able to add images in your Copilot prompts in June. So that's good. That's going to be coming there. And then two more that I liked. Viva, allow or disable reactions in engage events. So if you're using a town hall or something like that, you might want to limit what's coming, especially if it's not, the best of news. So you might want to keep reactions to a minimum. So you can do that there. And then finally, this one I like, voice commands via Siri for Teams meetings on iOS. This is great because this is what you need in the car. So yes, I'm excited. I'm excited for that one. That looks like it's coming in July of 2025. So that's all I had for in development. Do you guys have anything else in development that you want to go?
I'm good to roll on to rolling out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then we'll go to rolling out. And Tamara, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Microsoft Teams' ability to stop Copilot while it's generating a response. Copilot in Teams will now have a stop button. So after sending a prompt. And this is going to allow the user to stop Copilot's response either before the response has started to generate or even after the response is generating. The user may then start a new prompt if they wish, because usually I'll do my first prompt and I'm not thinking about it. And I'll
Or
be
I
like,
forget
oh,
to add the
wait.
file that I say I'm going to add.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then also Microsoft Teams presenter chat while screen sharing. Enable presenters to more easily access the meeting chat while screen sharing by adding an entry point in the presenter toolbar. And that's going out to every tenant. So, and that's May, we're enrolling out. So it should be coming out soon.
Well, oh, you've still gone?
Nope,
Cool.
I'm
I
good.
have one that I like. Edit from this and all the following events. So
Yes, that
instead
one's
of going
cool.
back and changing everything, it will let you edit reoccurring events from this one and going forward. Excited about that. Um, Creating a reference file when creating a presentation. You can reference a text file now, which is fantastic. And then also, when you generate a new presentation based off an existing presentation, it's not going to override your existing presentation. It's going to
Yay.
create a new file. So
Yay.
Oh,
that
yay.
one
First
is
time I ever
great.
did that, it's like, no, I did not want to lose that
You're
original
like, don't.
presentation.
I
Yeah.
just giggle and go back and turn the versioning on. They must have a lot of telemetry with people doing that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And then finally, Microsoft 365 and Copilot and overview of your Word document. So when you get a Word document, you can get an overview of it, which is fantastic. So those are the ones that I had. It's in there twice, right? You can also get an auto summary of your file, so you can do it for your Word document or your file. I thought that's kind of funny. They have some duplicates in this week, but those are the ones that I have. So Tom, what do you have this week?
Speaking about that Copilot generate the audio overview of your Word document, it's one thing to just say, okay, I'm going to give you an overview, but no, this is going to bring your content to life through a podcast style discussion between two hosts. Wow. Hey, let's discuss this document that Tom put out there. Okay, what did you find on it? That's going to be funny. But I did read something today that said that Satya apparently does that kind of stuff with a lot of documents and just listens to them now in that way,
Of
shape, or
course.
form.
Yeah.
So this is kind of probably getting some love from the highest levels. So again, Microsoft Copilot, suggestions for slide templates as you work. Now instantly get suggestions for why side templates? Slide templates to use while creating slides in PowerPoint. Insert a new slide or start typing the slide name or type of slide and see suggestions coming up in the Copilot suggestion pane. And for those of us who don't do design terribly well, that's really cool. And then when you are getting ready to do a PowerPoint presentation with Copilot, you're now going to have the opportunity to select that template based on the organization collection that you might have out there, or select from the Microsoft handpicked templates, ensuring the new presentation is built as per your chosen template. So I think that's really cool. Again, for those of us who are not really great design people in our heads, to be able to pick templates that look really good and then can remain consistent all the way through. So that's rolling out, should be out sometime this month. That's it
All
for
right.
me.
Anything
Great.
else?
Not really.
All right. I think the only other one that came that people may be waiting for is shortcuts in the new Outlook for Windows. So it basically says the quick access category shortcuts that you loved in classic Outlook for Windows will be available in the new Windows. So I think that's coming soon and probably something that if someone uses, they really want it. So that might be reducing one of those blockers there. All right. So now we are into launched. I did not have a whole ton in launch, so I'm going to just go ahead and pass it to either Tamara or Tom, so I don't steal all the thunder.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of things covered here too, but there's a couple that I'll just bring up since you didn't talk about any. One is SharePoint Restricted Access Control Enhancements. So Restricted Access Control, or RAC as it's commonly known, This is for allowing SharePoint administrators to restrict access to SharePoint sites, including managing Microsoft 365 group connected sites with Microsoft 365 groups or security groups. I know that this was something that kind of came into play too with Copilot, where you could say, hey, ignore this site. Nobody gets access to it. So they're doing some enhancements in that area. And then we also had OneDrive Office files on hold. Now, I'd never heard of this particular policy, but if a tenant has the enabled hold the file enabled, that policy, and the end users run into Office file conflicts, then end users can open the file in Office to merge the changes. If a tenant has that policy disabled and the end users run into conflicts, then OneDrive automatically creates a copy of the file in conflict. When tenants have this disabled, it leads to end users potentially having to manually merge hundreds of conflicts because OneDrive automatically forks the file instead of allowing the users to have the option to merge it in Office.
New favorite term, forking files.
Forking files, I'm not going there. The proposal no longer allows tenants to disable this policy, thus not automatically forking a file when in conflict for end users. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you, Tamara, because I'm sure I can get in trouble if I speak any longer on forking files.
I've got nothing in launching.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's 2 policies on risk management.
It was purview.
Yeah, and what happens with the risk management policies is they're letting you basically scramble the usernames, so you can't really see what insider policy they're breaking, but you can see someone's doing it. It just allows you to maintain control even more securely and keep user privacy at the forefront. So those are there. So if you're a Purview user, there's all sorts of new reports coming. And then there are 2 canceled items. One of them is a duplicate, so nothing to see there. And that's Microsoft 365 groups for managing new loop workspaces. No big deal. That's just that is a duplicate, so no worries there. As well as the next one, intelligent meeting recap available in multi-tenant setups, is also a redundant one. So nothing to see here this week and canceled. So I think that wraps us up and takes us through everything today. So I guess we'll see you next week on show 251.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.